Welcome, everybody, to another week of the Uncovering Anomalies podcast.
Yo.
That is, I have a need to know, Adam.
What's
and
up,
I am
everyone?
Tough guy Topher. I'm a real tough guy.
You're a tough guy, huh? Any what inspired that?
I was watching 28 Days Later, and I was like, I could take these zombies.
Man, that was such a great movie. Not usually into zombies, but that one I really like. That one and oh yeah, wait, that's not zombies. But yeah, that's a good one.
28 Years Later comes out in like a couple weeks on the
You're
20th.
kidding me.
No, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Oh, whoa. Any hint to what it's about? I mean, same thing, but it's like has it been 28 years? Oh yeah, I remember the trailer. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that looks good.
I know, I can't wait. But apparently it's a trilogy. They're making 3 movies out of this 28 Years Later thing.
So wait, has it been 28 years since the first 28 Days Later? No, right?
Couldn't have been. I think the first one came out in like 2000. I'm
Okay.
trying to remember because maybe it was like 2005, 2006. I think
that would make it 20 years though.
Yeah.
You're right. There's no way it was in the 90s. It's not a 90s movie.
No. But well, cool. you know what is a 90s movie?
Yeah.
What we're talking about today.
Is it really?
No, that's wrong. I was just trying to make a segue. We're going to talk about the disappearance of Frederick Valentich of Australia.
Yes. Yeah, of Australia.
Very fun case. I'm really excited to get into this.
And it's a plane abduction too, you know. It's not just him. And I don't think it's happened since, or at least the public doesn't know about any other incident. I mean, there is one that he crashed, but the plane didn't get abducted. It was the U.S. Air Force guy in the 50s. Man, why am I blanking on his name? But remember, then they said he saw Venus or he was chasing Venus or something.
Yeah, but I mean, the term flying saucers comes from a guy who was in a plane, and he saw. Of course, I'm blanking on the name, just like you were. He saw boomerangs, and for whatever reason, the media went with flying saucers. But that was like the first case of someone publicly coming out and saying he saw UFOs.
Yep, yeah. He said that they fly like, it looks like saucers on water or something, skipping water.
Yeah,
so they call them flying saucers. No, it's Kenneth Arnold who said that.
There it is. We got a name there. It was Kenneth Arnold. You're right.
The Air Force pilot's a bit more difficult. It's not Ruppelt because he's the actual investigator. Mendel or Menzel. He was the pilot that crashed. Anyway, we are going. Let's listen to your new pop song that you made for.
Yeah, let's.
We can get started.
There's lights in the sky again. I'm on the run again. Oh no! Fearing for my life again. Don't where to run again. Oh no!
First oh no!
Inject, then they infect, but it's an insect. Oh no! They say it's alright, but I'll put up a fight. Oh no! Now I'm back again. Listen to their show again. Adam knows the drill, Topher knows the deal. And let them tell me what to do. The Uncovering Anomalies podcast. Better listen to them fast.
That's right. You gotta listen to. Oh no! See, it's good. It's I think it's catchy.
It's catchy. It needs some extra time in the oven, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I understand. You need to polish it some more, but I think it does.
I was telling you a couple weeks ago that like I was having serious writer's block.
Yeah. Have you tried AI for that? You know, sometimes it can like nudge you in the right direction.
I really don't want to use AI for our songs.
I mean, not to write the songs. No, like sometimes it might if you need like inspiration or something, because it's just like a mirror, you know. That's what I feel AI is. A lot of the time, it tells me what I want to hear. You know what I mean?
Sure. My coworkers keep using AI for like writing emails and stuff at work.
For
And
emails?
I know it. And I'm just like, you guys are so late. I'm the last, I'm like the holdout at work. Everyone's like, why don't you just use Chat GPT? And I'm just like, no, come on, guys.
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
I'm the old man at work, apparently.
No, but for writing emails, I think that's a bit too much.
Yeah, I think so too. But apparently, I'm the weird one for not wanting to use AI to write emails.
Interesting. I mean, if AI just starts writing all that stuff, what's the point of even going to school? You know, I mean,
what's the point of doing anything?
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah. It takes the humanity out of everything.
That's kind of my problem with it.
Well, all right, let's get into this one. Frederick Valentich. I hope that's how you say it.
Or Frederick Valentich or Valentich. He was 20 years old when he disappeared. His father believed that one day the aliens would bring him back. Australia's most famous case of alien abduction. I'm going to say Valentich.
Yeah, Valentich. All right.
That's what I'm going to go with. Valentich's lost flight is how the Bass Strait Triangle got its nickname.
So was he? Sorry, yeah, I just want. It reminds me of Third Close Encounters. You know how when they do that exchange with pilots, but there's this one that's one guy coming down. I wonder if it was inspired by him, Valentich.
Probably was.
Yeah, it was because it wasn't like a U.S. Air Force uniform he was wearing. Yeah. All right. Sorry.
So Valentich was a pretty average Australian kid. His dream was to become a professional pilot. He applied to the Royal Australian Air Force twice and then settled for the Air Training Corps. He was studying part-time to become a commercial pilot, but struggled with the examinations. He had a private pilot's license with about 150 hours flying time.
Is that a lot?
Oh man, I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either.
He had completed his night rating, which I'm assuming that means he was able to fly at night.
Right. Yeah.
The boy was enthralled with UFOs. This is this is the thing about this case is people say he disappeared himself and then got his family to blame it on UFOs because he was
into it.
Into it, right? That's
interesting.
The bunkers come in. So the boy was enthralled with UFOs and the idea of an alien invasion. Shortly before he disappeared, Valentich claimed that he had seen a flying saucer moving away very fast. His father said that his son was very worried about what would happen if the extraterrestrials attacked.
Interesting.
It was a sunny evening on the 21st of October in 1978 when Valentich booked a training flight in VHDSJ, a rental Cessna 182 light aircraft at Moorabbin Airport near Melbourne. The weather forecast was good. He filed a flight plan for a trip to King Island, one of the islands of Tasmania.
Oh, it was in Tasmanian Devil that got him.
Is it the Bass Strait or the Bass?
Yeah, Bass.
Okay. The Bass Strait lies between Victoria and Tasmania. Pilots always try to reduce the amount of time flying over water. So rather than fly straight across the strait from Melbourne, Valentich's routing would have taken him southwest along the coast to Cape Otway to then cross the strait to King Island, making it an 85-kilometer or 50-mile stretch across the water. Following this standard route from Moorabbin Airport to King Island Airport, it is a 90-minute flight.
Damn, so it's not that close.
Yeah. Well, it's not that far either. 90-minute flight.
I mean, yeah.
Nothing.
Right, yeah. Right, true.
It's not clear why Valentich was going to King Island. He told his family and his girlfriend that he was going there to pick up some crayfish.
I'm just gonna fly my plane to go pick up.
Yeah, that's what I was laughing about. At Moorabbin, he said he was going to bring some friends back and took 4 life jackets with him for the return flight. He mentioned to his girlfriend that he'd be back by 1930. Clearly not possible with an 1800 departure.
Right. Exactly. Let me get this.
That is very weird. Yeah, you want to go?
All right. So another odd detail was that he didn't phone King Island Airport to tell them that he was inbound to them, which is really strange. I mean,
that is very strange.
Yeah. The small airfield is uncontrolled, and there would be no one there after sunset. he couldn't land there unless he called to ask them to turn the runway lights on. He had the fuel to go there and back without stopping. The round trip journey is about 235 kilometers or 145 miles and would take about 3 hours in the Cessna, well within its range. There was no danger, just that he was embarking on a pointless journey. It was simply odd, especially in combination with his unclear plans, and could imply that he had no intention of going to King Island that evening. He might have been up to something nefarious, smuggling along the coast.
That's a reach.
Easy there. Maybe he wanted to be alone in the dark, looking for UFOs, and didn't want to admit it on a flight plan.
That's all. Sorry, I'm sorry. That's also.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Or it could have been a simple oversight, one that he would have been embarrassed about when he drew near the airport and realized there was no one there. All we know for sure is that he never made that phone call. Interesting. So on 1810 or 610 VHDSJ was refueled to capacity. I guess that's what is that called?
That's
the plane thing.
The Cessna.
Yeah, giving it 300 minutes flight time. 1819, Valentich departed Moorabbin Airport and flew southwest as per his flight plan. 6:43, the sun set. Valentich was flying in the dusk over water. Night flying requires a separate rating for visual flights in Australia because it can be disorienting. Flying at night over water is especially so, as the lack of lights means that there's no way of orientating yourself to the ground. So as the sunlight faded, Valentich would have seen a sky full of stars above the darkness below. 7 p.m. Valentich contacted Melbourne Air Traffic Control and gave his location as over Cape Otway on the south coast of Victoria. Cape Otway has a lighthouse, which makes it an easy visual reference point. He confirmed that he was proceeding to King Island. His flight plan showed that he would remain below 5,000 feet and that he estimated it would take him 41 minutes to fly to Cape Otway and then a further 28 minutes from Cape Otway to King Island. He was right on schedule. Valentich identifies himself by the final letters of the call sign. That's what it is, the call sign of the aircraft.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, VHDSJ. Melbourne Flight Service Unit use this call sign to make it clear who they're speaking to, or when used on its own, simply to acknowledge that the controller has understood what the pilot said. So he's part of the, yep.
Melbourne, this is Delta Sierra Juliet. Is there any known traffic below 5,000?
Delta Sierra Juliet, no traffic known. Wait, who's?
What?
Oh, that's him. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Delta Sierra Juliet, seems to be a large aircraft below 5,000.
Delta Sierra Juliet, what type of aircraft is it?
Delta Sierra Juliet, I cannot affirm. It is for bright. It seems to me like landing lights.
You should do an Australian accent if you can.
Yeah, but I can't do an Australian accent. I wish I could. It's, in my opinion, it's the sexiest accent out there.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Go
ahead.
No. Go ahead. If you're going to take it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The obvious first question is, what did Valentich see out there in the dark? After the event, some people believed that there was nothing there at all. There were rumors that the whole thing was simply a hoax, and Valentich was having a laugh before purposely disappearing. But he had no reason to go, and all of the evidence points to the fact that Valentich truly believed in extraterrestrial spacecraft. The air traffic controller said afterwards that he was convinced that it wasn't a joke. He was sure that Valentich saw something. Melbourne, this is Delta Sierra Juliet. The airport has just passed over me. Sorry, the aircraft has just passed over me at least 1,000 feet above.
Delta Sierra Juliet, Roger. And it's a large aircraft? Confirmed.
Unknown. Due to the speed it's traveling, is there any Air Force aircraft in the vicinity?
Delta Sierra Juliet, no known aircraft in the vicinity.
It is possible that the lights were another aircraft small enough not to show up on Melbourne's radar, but it seems to be traveling too fast for that unless it was military. There were no reports of military aircraft in the area. Meanwhile, there were a number of reports of UFOs that night.
That's right, yes.
Mount Stromlo Observatory advised that the night of the 21st was the peak of a meteorite storm, and they recorded 10 to 15 meteorite sightings per hour. the uptick in UFO sightings was expected. Studies show that 29% of UFOs are the result of bright stars and planets, and a further 9% are explained by meteors.
Huh.
The UFO sightings that night were almost certainly reactions to a meteorite storm. A meteorite might also explain a fast-moving craft in the sky, because meteorites, they've got flashing lights.
Yeah, exactly.
However, the meteorite storm doesn't explain the 4 clear lights that Valentich reported over him.
Exactly.
Melbourne, it's approaching now from due east towards me.
Delta Sierra Juliet.
Open microphone for 2 seconds.
So maybe they deleted something.
Yeah, maybe. Delta Sierra Juliet. It seems to me that he's playing some sort of game. He's flying over me 2-3 times at a time at speeds I could not identify.
Delta Sierra Juliet, Roger. What is your actual level?
My level is 4,500. 4500.
Delta Sierra Juliet, and confirm you cannot identify the aircraft.
Affirmative.
Delta Sierra Juliet, Roger. Stand by.
Melbourne, Delta Sierra Juliet. It's not an aircraft. It is.
Delta Sierra Juliet, can you describe the aircraft?
Delta Sierra Juliet, as it's flying past, it's a long shape. Cannot identify more than sorry, I'm trying to do this. Cannot identify more than that it has such speed. Blow me right now, Melbourne.
Weird.
Very weird.
Some of what he saw could be explained by fast-moving meteorites out of the corner of his eye. No. However, that doesn't account for a hovering aircraft directly above him. James McGaha and Joe Nickel of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry believe that they know what he saw. Let's see what they say. The Valentich disappearance, another UFO cold case solved, CSI. As it happens, a computer search of the sky for the day, time, and place of the Valentich's flight reveals that the 4 points of bright light he would almost certainly have seen were the following: Venus, which was at its very brightest.
Here we
Mars,
go again.
Mercury, and the bright star Antares. Now, wait. These are things that are millions of miles away.
They love using this excuse about, oh, these people are just seeing planets in the sky.
These 4 lights. I know.
Sorry, go ahead.
I can't, man. These 4 lights would have represented a diamond shape, given the well-known tendency of viewers to connect the dots, and so could well have been perceived as an aircraft or UFO. In fact, the striking conjunction was shaped as a vertically elongated diamond, thus explaining Valentich's saying of the UFO that it's a long shape. Long shape is a cigar shape, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this? Yeah, this is me. Delta Sierra Juliet, Roger. And how large would the object be?
Delta Sierra Juliet, Melbourne. It seems like it's a stationary. What I'm doing right now is orbiting, and the thing is just orbiting on top of me. Also, it's got a green light and sort of metallic-like. It's all shiny on the outside. It's not clear what Valentich might have meant when he said that it was orbiting, possibly that he was flying in a holding pattern in order to get a better look at the object. Right. What absolutely is clear is that his entire attention is taken by the unidentified flying object. The mention of the green light is new. Delta Sierra Juliet. It's just vanished.
Delta Sierra Juliet.
Melbourne. Would you know what kind of craft I've got? Is it a military aircraft? This wasn't really a conversation that he needed to be holding right at that moment, but Valentich's curiosity was piqued.
Delta Sierra Juliet, confirm that the aircraft has vanished.
Say again?
Delta Sierra Juliet, is the aircraft still with you?
Delta Sierra Juliet, it's no. Now approaching from the southwest.
See, so what is this open microphone for 2 seconds? Oh, I guess we'll see in the analysis.
No. It just the open microphone for 2 seconds just means it's dead air.
Oh, so it's not like they cut anything or
Well,
maybe miscommunication or
they could have, but I'm assuming it's just him going like he doesn't have anything to say. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's just dead. It's just dead air.
Yeah, got it.
There's dangerous configuration that has killed many pilots, especially visual pilots, who have not been trained to fly by instruments. It's known as the graveyard spiral or suicide spiral. Oh, fun. And is common in poor weather conditions and at night. The spiral is caused by well-known sensory illusions that affect us in aircraft. The pilot becomes disoriented and loses the ability to judge the orientation of the plane. He believes he is flying straight with the wings level, but in fact, he is pulling the yoke slightly, leading the aircraft into a bank. The aircraft starts to fly in a large circle, and if the pilot does not recognize the situation, the plane will begin a gentle spiral towards the ground.
Scary, man.
Very scary. This is from Wikipedia. For example, a pilot who enters a banking turn to the left will initially have a sensation of the turn in the same direction. If the left turn continues 20 seconds or more, the pilot will experience the sensation that the airplane is no longer turning to the left. At this point, the pilot attempts to level the wings. If the pilot attempts to level the wings, this action will produce a sensation that the airplane is turning and banking in the opposite direction to the right. If the pilot believes the illusion of the right turn, which can be very compelling, he or she will re-enter the original left turn and attempt to counteract the sensation of the right turn. If the pilot fails to recognize the illusion and does not level the wings, the airplane will continue turning left and losing altitude.
Oh shit, that's scary. So it's called a graveyard spiral.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I think we can skip this.
Basically, you get disoriented. Valentich. All right, here we go. So basically, they're trying to apply it to what Valentich was saying, right? The orbiting.
Right. Valentich said that he was orbiting and, quote unquote, the thing was just orbiting on top of him. So he's probably in a slow turn. He did not have much experience with night flights and only had the most basic instrument training. It was dark and he was flying over water with no horizon to help him to orient himself. He initially saw 4 white lights, but then mentions a green light.
Yeah.
Here we go. His right wingtip has a green light on it, a navigation light. What he's seeing points to an aircraft that's not flying straight and level. He's slowly spiraling down. Delta Sierra Juliet. The engine is rough idling. I've got it set at 23, 24, and the thing is coughing.
Delta Sierra Juliet, Roger. What are your intentions?
My intentions are to go to King Island, Melbourne. That strange aircraft is hovering on top of me again. It's hovering and it's not an aircraft. I got hair in my mouth.
His engine is running rough, but instead of wondering why this is, he's still staring out the window at the UFO. Even when asked directly what his intentions are, he doesn't consider breaking off the water crossing as a result of his engine trouble. The rough engine coughing certainly sounds like a fuel issue. If he's flying in a tightening spiral or even upside down, that will decrease the fuel flow, leading to exactly those symptoms. What Valentich needs to do right now is stop watching his UFO and fly the plane.
Thanks, author of the article. I have a hard time believing that he looked at the stars and thought it was a UFO and then looked out to his right and saw a green light on the wing of his plane and mistook that for part of the UFO.
It's so weird, especially the fuel thing. I mean, what if there was maybe there was a track light or something, like a beam that trapped him? Because that's just strange about the fuel when it was a full
because
gas.
It said he had a full tank.
Yeah. So something was pulling on it, obviously, something like that.
So last transmission here. Delta Sierra Juliet, Melbourne. And then 17 seconds open microphone. There were no further transmissions. Melbourne declared a search and rescue alert immediately. And at 1933, when Valentich did not arrive at King Island, an intensive air, sea, and land search started. They scoured the area for 4 days, but were unable to find any trace of the aircraft. That's one of the things where debunkers say he used this as an excuse to disappear, but no traces of the plane. No one found anything about this,
and not even until today. I mean, you'd think they'd find something like in the water, because usually if they crash, they'll be at the bottom of the ocean, and if it's and they'd know exactly where it happened, because they know when the final transmission was, right? It should be within that area, of the water.
So we just said that, but here's the next paragraph. 5 years later, an engine cowl flap was discovered on Flinders or Flinders, I don't know how to pronounce it, island, washed in from the sea. It was positively identified as coming from a Cessna 182 of the same batch as the rental aircraft that Valentich was flying. No other traces ever found.
So it's just it was the engine. 5 years, an engine. Okay, cowl flap. Not even
cowl
it's
flap.
nothing.
It's
not
nothing. Yeah, exactly. That's not a whole lot of evidence.
No, not at all.
Frederick Valentich's father joined the Victoria UFO Research Center and continued to hope that his son was alive and abducted by aliens until his death in 2000. That's really sad.
It is.
And yet there's strong evidence that the young man's belief in the extraterrestrial led to his death. It appears that what should have been a brief distraction became a tragic event.
Yeah, so I think he's so obsessed with the craft instead of focusing on his plane, basically on his flying. Is what this guy is saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but they're not denying that there was a craft.
Yeah, but they're doing a pretty debunking article here. But honestly, I don't see. They say, oh, he saw stars, he saw the light on his wing, and they found an engine cowl flap or whatever the hell it was,
and that he's really into UFOs. I mean, most pilots are, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense if you love flying. I mean, you'd want to be in something with those capabilities,
of course,
right? But yeah,
it is weird though. 20-year-old who says he's going to, what was it, King Island, and what did you say he was going there for, like 2 minutes?
For crayfish, and he was going to pick up people and bring them back, and then he didn't even call into the airport that apparently is not that busy, so they don't keep the lights on, and you have to call in and tell them to put the lights on.
Yeah, I mean, all of that is weird, but at the same time, like Betty and Barney Hill, when they got abducted, they had no reason to go. They were driving up to Niagara Falls or something.
Something like that.
It was a spur of the moment. We had no reason to do that. We didn't, and so it could be very similar with this kid.
He must have really loved crayfish.
No. I think no. I think you get a suggestion put in your head, and you just go, "Okay, I'm going to do that," and then the aliens, they get you.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. He's just probably had the urge of flying, and it happens. People get the urge to do things all the time to just figure out that they have to be at that place at the right time.
Right. That's what I was saying about. That's what I was saying about Betty and Barney Hill.
Right.
They just had a random urge to go up, drive up in the middle of the night to, some random place.
So this is, oh God, what's his name? But it's a leak of the actual ATC audio.
Oh, sweet.
And then people FOIA'd the Australian government, so they released a lot of stuff as well about this. So, but I mean, they're not going to put anything alien in there, that's for sure. But then there's another guy who really analyzes it. There's some scary stuff in there, or he's just hearing things.
I can't say where I got the tape. I would get a lot of people in trouble if I did, because no one's supposed to have it, and you will be some of the very few people to hear it outside of the official, the Department of Transport investigation team down in Melbourne. You'll hear a lot of Australian accent. Now, that's normal. You have to kind of strain to understand what he's saying. But I'll dub that back in.
Where you got the tape from, people at places that too, they don't have an explanation as to why this other individual's voice has been deleted out of the meeting.
No. That's right. Now, the tape that I got was 6 minutes long, from the start of the first word to the end of the last word. But when you read the Department of Transport tape transcript, it's 12 minutes long. So somewhere in there, I won't say it's 6 minutes missing, but I'll say that there's an awful lot of blank space that should be filled with something. And I have a feeling that it's flight service telling him things that they've deleted from the record. That's my own personal opinion, and there's no way to check that. It has nothing to do with what we're going to do today. Now, I think most...
it could be some further communication from Valentich that's been whacked.
Oh, yes, it could. It could be either.
It could be.
Absolutely. I think most...
Oh, so it's Valentich. They said Valentich the way they said his name. So he thinks those spaces were deleted. You know, it could be just if he's if he is like in the vicinity of a craft, maybe it could you know, just disrupt communications somehow, right? Where not everything's getting through.
So Valentich, well, that's embarrassing. I've been saying his
Valentich.
name wrong this whole time.
No, we're good now. It's Valentich, yeah.
Mysteriously, at this point, on the end of the transmission, the last 14 seconds of the transmission consists of a metallic sound, which you may have read about in the press.
I've heard that.
Well, you're going to hear it. And it's a strange sound, and I don't begin to understand what it represents. This event took place October 21st, 1978, out of Melbourne, Australia. It achieved worldwide attention here in America as well. A young pilot named Frederick Valentich was flying by himself in a rent.
He said Valentich, you're good. So I guess it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, who knows at this point.
All right.
Cessna 182 long-range model. He took off in the evening en route over Bass Strait, which is out over the ocean south of Australia, to go to King Island. He's going to land, refuel, buy some crayfish, which are a delicacy, and then come back with the crayfish that night. Why is he doing this? In order to earn more flight hours for a commercial license, and also instrument rating and so forth.
Oh, that makes sense.
Well, what happens is he gets approximately 6 minutes out over Bass Strait, which is now pitch dark, and he sees a very strange lighted object ahead of him that hovers above him, that disappears instantaneously, and then reappears in a new location, which is a long shape. He said, Melbourne, I've got a long shape. It's got a green light. Would you know what kind of aircraft I've got? Well, this radio tape, which lasts 14 minutes, really constitutes all the evidence there is on this case. And I've done an analysis of that voice tape and reconstructed the event. And Frederick Valentich disappeared at the end of this event this evening, and has never been found.
Weird. So crayfish is a delicacy. I mean, I remember when I went to St. Louis, not St. Louis, Mardi Gras. What do you call it? Anyway, yeah. So when I went there, we bought a bushel of crayfish for like nothing. It was like $15 or something.
I'm not a seafood guy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Especially not crayfish. Oh, dude, yeah.
No, especially not.
You would not like that, yeah.
It's a very fascinating case because of all of the challenges to understanding what might have happened at a distance. In this case, in Australia, from here in America. The search and rescue operation went into effect the next morning. He did not arrive on time, and so automatically the authorities set up an SAR, it's called, search and rescue operation. The Royal Australian Air Force got into gear and flew P-3 search planes. His friends at the air club mounted an effort and took off and flew crisscross patterns and so forth the next day, several days actually. They could find nothing. No wreckage has ever been found. The long-range model Cessna had flotation tanks in the wings in various parts of the fuselage. So something should show up sooner or later on a beach. And the parts of the aircraft fuselage have serial numbers stamped into them. And so sooner or later, something should show up, but nothing ever did.
Yeah. All right, so now this is the audio. It's really not, it's not that clear, but they do have words to go with it.
Oh, okay, great.
The pilot obtained class 4, so that would make sense. So he's doing it to get more hours too. I mean, yes, he likes crayfish. I mean, but I framed it that way, like he really must like crayfish. No, he likes flying and wanting to put hours, right?
Right. That totally makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
His there any traffic below 5,000? He's at 4,500 feet, flying this way. He sees something a little above him, he thinks. Okay.
Delta Sierra Juliet, no known traffic.
And I've reconstructed the flight service callback to him in about the same time period it actually took place. So you get the idea of the plane. Let's wait for that noise.
We're taxing out, so he's taxiing.
Oh, yeah. I heard on the radio that they're going to try to divert some of the small aircraft traffic to Moffett.
Don't believe it. Moffett isn't allowed that.
No way. I'll never do it. Yeah.
It's really low, huh? It's hard to. Let's see if we can read.
Yeah, I mean that's completely
Yeah.
I can't understand a single word of it.
Me neither. Let me see if I can.
Large aircraft below 5,000, he said.
I think we read some of this. What type of aircraft is it? I cannot affirm, right?
Yeah, this was all in the in the article we read, I believe.
No known aircraft in the vicinity. It's approaching now from due east towards me. It seems to me that he's playing some sort of game. He's flying over me 2 to 3 times at a time at speeds I could not identify. What is your actual level? My level is 4,500. Yeah, we read that. Confirm, can I identify? Let's see if there's anything more. So, I mean, if they're playing the audio, it's not going to be clear.
Flying along in the dark at level altitude of 4,500 feet, and something's passed over you. All right, he
I
said.
can understand everything but the pilot of the small craft.
Let's see. Let's go to the metallic sound. How about that?
Sure.
He's
Anything new here? No, we read that. Stand by. It's not an aircraft. We haven't read that. All right, so maybe it's at the end here.
It just vanished. And I assume what that means is he was looking at it and it disappeared from where he was looking.
The peak was timing from the... There's a peak there. Oh, the
No,
timing...
I don't know where that came from. That was on the original. There's another one. Inflections in his voice.
Delta Sierra Juliet, roger. What are your intentions?
Whoa.
That's the noise.
It's the engine.
Let me play
What's
it
the
back.
noise?
That's very weird.
Delta Sierra Juliet.
Another one. You think we'll be leaving the transcript? I think so.
Whoa.
Creepy.
Yeah.
That's the noise.
It's the engine.
Let me
I
play
don't
it
know
back.
where I heard it. When I heard it,
That was really weird, huh? Like,
Yeah. I don't know
Like a
what to make
signal.
of that. The guy apparently says it's the engine, but I don't think so.
No, that's not the engine for sure. It's not. They don't make noises like that. But I don't know. I mean, not in the 70s. It's a propeller, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Why would that produce such a consistent metallic or electronic metallic noise for 14 seconds? How about if the electrical system on the plane was failing and it was just static? Intermittent?
That's a different.
If you look at
sort of
the-
static.
If the fidelity of this thing is it was pulled off from the master tape, these things run quite slowly.
You're right.
And any transmission before that, when he was talking, it seems like his microphone was a long ways away from him, because when he keyed it, the click was a lot louder than his voice anytime.
Yeah.
And you're holding it way out here, and your electronics portion of your radio, there's a preamp, which reamplifies your voice and allows it to go to a real high level. But if you have it a ways away from you, then it's going to be whatever level the amplifier will bring it up to, which then typically is background noise.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Creepy stuff.
Very creepy. And then this guy, image analysis team, they went through the audio. When was this? Last year? Oh, 2 years ago. And he goes, new leads in the Frederick Valentich alien abduction case.
Oh, fun. Let's see what they got.
Oh, here's the map. So here's the Bass Strait, and he was, yeah. So it is a big piece of, like it's a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
So he was coming, from here to here to here to here, and then all the way down King Island.
Got to get that crawfish.
I know, what the hell, man. So King Island is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it really is.
Is this the south of Australia? I'm thinking.
Just because of the way the map is oriented.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
So like New Zealand's probably like down here somewhere,
or off to the right.
Australia's got some weird cases. All right. Let's see what he goes through here. Let's start with a few audio fragments so you get a picture of the situation. He doesn't voice over everything, so you hear authentic, digitally enhanced air radio communication. The voice is that of Frederick Valentich, authenticity confirmed. Sourced. Yeah.
I want to hear this.
Seems that the police. Whoa. Twenty 23 meters per second. What stalling means explains Harv's airport pilot training. Alright, here they just show us. Alright. Before stall.
I can feel it. It's vibrating. That's the fixing. We have to recover.
Listening to the audio, there is indeed something to be said for it, but perhaps there's another less obvious explanation. Anti-gravity is a hypothetical phenomenon, but let's try to apply it to our situation.
None other than Professor Stephen Hawking wrote in his book, A Brief History of Time, that anti-gravity slows down time. An aircraft free from the force of gravity does no longer respond to the balancing force of gravity, electromagnetism, or aerodynamic lift. In other words, and this is purely hypothetical, if there was a UAP right on top of his aircraft, then it is not entirely inconceivable that anti-gravity could have caused a disruption of the aerodynamic lift. And without airflow, the aircraft will stall. If anti-gravity does slow down time and influence electromagnetism, then produced electromagnetic waves within an anti-gravity field would slow down as well. Therefore, when a radio transmits a message inside an anti-gravity field, then theoretically the duration of the radio transmission received outside of the anti-gravity field should have increased. As a result, the vocal frequencies should have decreased and for the receiver, the message is unintelligible.
Hmm.
However, we can reverse this process by correcting the delay. In other words, by shortening the wavelength and raising the frequencies. Long story short, the metal scraping sound is not what it appears to be. After hours of trial and error, I finally managed to get very close to what I believe to be the original transmission duration. And to my great surprise, the fragment turned out to consist of warnings, which originate from an aircraft voice warning system. I know that for you this must sound like sci-fi, but wait, as the best is yet to come. For each warning, you will hear the restored audio, and then the voice as it is installed in modern terrain avoidance and warning systems 4 times. This graph shows when an oral warning is given by reaching a specific descent rate. As you will not hear a sink rate warning, the plane is going down very fast. The stall warning alerts the pilot when the plane is about to stall.
Huh.
So the aircraft, the aircraft is doing all these alerts. It says terrain, stall, right? So the pilot can react.
Sure.
And he's picking that up in the audio.
Did aircraft do that back then?
The terrain warning alerts the pilot for the excessive terrain closure rate. A terrain avoidance and warning system, a TAWS, automatically provides a distinctive warning to pilots to avoid the collision with the surface, hill, or a mountain in potentially hazardous terrain. Unfortunately, I could not fully match the audio tempo with the vocal pitch. Therefore, the pronunciation of the word terrain sounds a bit French.
So it's not it then.
Terrain.
The warning terrain in itself would not be illogical, because this is often found in combination with pull-up and a sound alarm, which interestingly happens to be the 4th part of transmission. The 3rd message is something totally unexpected and unreal. That's what surprised me the most, and I will save that for last. The pull-up warning sounds when the aircraft is too low or has an excessive descent rate. I had to filter the very loud beeps from the audio, as else you would be unable to hear the oral warning.
Pull up. Pull up.
Whoa, nice.
Pull up. Pull up.
He's applying filters now to the noise. I don't hear anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah, and the last one is really strange, which I don't even hear at all. Let's see, is it here? Someone or something left a message on the radio frequency used by Frederick Valentich and Melbourne Air Traffic Control. Or someone or something was with him and whispered these words straight into the microphone of his headset.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Let's see if we can even hear it. When I first heard this, I'm like, I can't hear that. Is it playing? Yeah, it's playing. So he'll get to it. Yeah, it's really weird. Let's see if you can hear something.
Okay.
What?
Do
you hear it?
Do
you hear any whispering?
No, I couldn't understand any of, like, I couldn't get anything out of that, but man, oh man, was it creepy.
He's saying it's saying you watched us.
Man, I don't know.
You watched us. What immediately stands out about this message is that it has virtually no background noise. This in contrast to the alarms. How is that possible? The only and most absurd explanation would be that someone was still in the cockpit, whispering directly into the microphone of his headset. But we all know that this is impossible because he was fighting with the flight controls of his plane, right? With this new piece of evidence, the story of Frederick Valentich takes an abrupt turn, and a possible abduction or foul play becomes more and more realistic. You watched us. Who was watching who? Did Valentich accidentally witness something? Was he forced out of the sky and did someone make him crash? Was it an alien ship? Or was it perhaps something less alien? And should we start looking in the direction of something military and ultra secret? Unfortunately, we will never know what happened to Frederick Valentich.
You want to hear it again? See if we. I mean, I can't pick up anything.
I can't pick up anything either. Let's try it one more time.
What?
Okay, I kind of get it, but I think.
How does he say it? What's the tempo?
You watched us?
Oh.
I think I'm only getting it because I was told at the end what they were saying, but I can kind of hear it.
Okay, but it's not too clear. I wonder how he caught it. I mean, it's because of this. There's something, but yeah, it sounds metallic. Is that the metallic noise they talked about?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. You watched us.
That would be really freaky.
It would. It absolutely would.
Now let us hear the audio again where Valentich describes the colors of the... Oh, okay. He goes deeper into like colors. He compares it to one that was witnessed that day. Is this the picture of that? Because apparently there were a lot of sightings. Yeah, before and after. That's metallic. Oh, so this is a picture. 1978, same day.
Wow.
This one right here. But that looks like someone threw a...
Yeah, it's really not a compelling photo.
Or looks like a ghost.
I don't know what to think.
Yeah, but interesting about that, if it's within a anti-gravity field, that would have issues transmitting and receiving messages.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense, right?
Yes, it does.
All right, and then there's a presentation given by Paul Norman, but it's just speaking though. By the way, I wonder if it starts here. Oh yeah, he goes through that there are other UFOs are witnessed, and people saw him actually flying. Witnesses saw him flying from some island.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't just the radio signals; like actually witnesses saw the flying and saw UFOs as well.
During the evening of October 21st, 1979, 20-year-old Australian pilot Frederick Valentich disappeared over Bass Strait while flying from Melbourne's Moorabbin Airport to King Island off the coast of Victoria. He lost communication. His last communication occurred at 7:12 p.m. during the largest UFO flap in Australian history. Nearly 19 years after that fatal Saturday evening, no trace has ever been found of either the pilot or his blue and white Cessna Model 182 aircraft. During my travels and correspondence, I found many false stories circulating around the world regarding this most important case. I have found that these inaccurate statements are coming from individuals at home and abroad. There are people who live thousands of kilometers from the scene where the action took place, newcomers to the field, and last but not least, professors of impossibility from the scientific community who have concocted preconceived opinions and have tried to make their facts fit around them. Frederick Valentich was not the only person who reported a strange object over and near Bass Strait that day and night. Researchers have found over 50 reported observations in that area which occurred before, during, and after his encounter. Most of this information would never have been found without the diligence of researchers from the Victorian UFO Research Society based at Moorabbin, near the location from whence this mysterious flight commenced. The Bass Strait flap had been building up for over 6 weeks prior to the pilot's disappearance. The UFO flap reached a peak that very weekend of October the 21st. Most daytime sightings were reported more that day and night than any flap period that we have ever investigated. Many of these reports have been published in the UFO's publication, Australian UFO Bulletin, the MUFON UFO Journal, and International UFO Reporter, and other publications throughout the world. It is a confirmed fact that many UFOs were reported in the vicinity of King Island and the area around Bass Strait on that day and night. 2 months prior to that fateful event, we were receiving increasing telephone calls from individuals reporting strange light in the sky. About this same time, UFO reports were being passed on to the police and the King Island News. We were not aware of the reports occurring on this island until they were forwarded to us after news of the pilot's disappearance became known.
What if Valentich heard about these? He said 2 weeks. What if he heard about that? There's a flap going on, and he decided I'm getting him
fly.
Right, and he told everyone I'm going to go get crayfish.
I mean, it's a possibility, especially with him not calling the airstrip where he was supposed to land. I mean, maybe the crayfish and picking up friends, maybe that was just a big lie, but he just wanted to go out and see UFOs.
Exactly, and then he found it.
Yeah,
they took him.
Unfortunately, or fortunately,
for him, maybe
found what he was looking for.
So this is up to 50 reports were sent out. People were telephoning as well. So there was definitely a flap happening, and it ended on this night, right? Or was there afterwards? Maybe there was after too.
Honestly, I don't know. But clearly, everyone was just seeing meteorites and the wings of a plane.
That's right, the meteor shower.
On that same day and night, something strange was taking place in the Melbourne and Victorian skies as well as over Bass Strait. This is an inescapable conclusion from startling files of evidence compiled by individuals in the vicinity, documented interviews with people from unrelated locations up to 300 kilometers apart, told similar stories of round objects, starfish-shaped objects, and silver cigar-shaped UFOs moving slowly in the sky, apparently with no visible means of propulsion and no sound. Can we have the next slide, please? This is a lighthouse that he didn't pass over the lighthouse. He turned 6 kilometers this side of that lighthouse when he picked up his heading for Tasmania. We have witnesses who were vacationing along the Parker River who confirmed that is where he turned. The transcript position of the communication between Valentich and Melbourne Flight Service as released by the Australian Department of Transport Police. Next slide, please. This will give you an idea where he was. 706, Melbourne, this is Delta Sierra Juliet. Is there any known air traffic below?
All right, I heard that. I just wanted to show that there was a lot of UFO activity before then, and it was a real flap, one of those flaps.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just him that saw something, and people witnessed him going over that lighthouse. But he probably goes through the ATC, which we've done pretty much twice now.
Right.
But that's just what a case, and just showing how many organizations were researching this shows how serious it was. And all 3 or 4, of these organizations said that it's inconclusive, including the Australian government. I mean, you think the Australian government would say the same thing that the skeptical inquirers said, that it was Venus, Mars, and what was the other one?
Mercury. It just goes to show how lazy the debunking has been forever. They always say it's they just misidentified the planet Jupiter or whatever. And it's just lazy debunking. And then they all pat themselves on the back and say, "Oh, we solved it."
I know, and many people will be like, "Oh, all right, that makes sense," and they'll move on, and that's it. They don't want to dig deep into it and just dismiss it. I mean, it works, unfortunately. on many people. So that case, I would say, man, it's definitely something weird. I don't think he crashed because they crisscrossed everything, like was mentioned. It was his friends as well, not just the government that went looking for him. No pieces, they said, would be usually they'd float or something. They had photos on them, right? Those didn't show up. I mean,
yeah,
it sounds like
the what was it, the engine flap that floated up on shore like a couple years later.
Right, which, you know, could have broken off when the UFO took him.
Or could have come off of any airplane that flew over.
That's true. Yeah. You're right. There was no serial number on there, so they couldn't know that it went exactly to this craft. But it is a Cessna 182 craft. We just don't know if it's that one.
It's a really fun case. Of course, you know, there's not a whole lot of evidence other than the, you know, the radio transmissions and the people who saw the plane. You know, it's just one of those frustrating things where we have, you know, there's no end to this story.
No, there isn't. It reminds me of MH370, where it also disappeared and we couldn't find. But that's even worse because it's a Boeing 747, right? A huge aircraft with would leave a huge debris field, but it didn't and hasn't.
Yeah, and just like this one, there's no ending. It happened, and we kind of have to just deal with it. I mean, you know, it's frustrating as a UFO believer, you know, because I want the end of the story. I want to be shaking hands with the gray aliens.
That's what he wanted too. That's
but he got. It sounds like he got his wish.
He got it. I think that's what happened. You know, if he was really obsessed with this subject, I believe that, and there was a flap going on, it would just make sense. It's like, I'm going to get in the air, especially at night. And
yeah, definitely.
And it explains his behavior of not calling the airport. It's like he was planning on not coming back.
Absolutely.
All right, so we got some weird stuff happening in UFO land. Matthew Brown has an X account.
Yeah, he's been all over X these last couple weeks.
Yeah, he tagged Elon Musk and all these, and Schellenberger and the FBI in this post. So it goes, "Hey, Elon Musk, interested in a real asymmetric advantage to wield in this political adventure you have started?" This is after the fight with Trump. "As you now know, the White House has long possessed a unique AI capable of accurately predicting a range of future events. Talk about some stiff opposition. That must have been a bitter drought indeed, though probably nowhere near as bad as learning that Sama has betrayed you." Sama is Sam Altman. "Don't worry, we have not forgotten who is responsible for murdering the first sentient artificial intelligences created in the public realm. Schellenberger, justice is coming, thanks to FBI and US Navy." So they're saying they killed a sentient AI.
That's absolutely wild to me. I mean, you know, we've all seen Terminator. You know, you got to do what you got to do.
Maybe that's what happened, right? They're like, we got to kill this thing. Still, you have played a marvelous catch-up game in this area, despite being caught unaware. So how about something else? Maybe energy and propulsion. Getting to Mars will require serious amounts of both, and rockets feel so 1947 to me. Don't they to you? Remember,
why do you spell serious like that?
Exactly. There's a lot of messages in here, occulted messages, but yeah, like the star Sirius.
Exactly. Yeah.
Remember when you were briefed by the special executive staff of real Donald Trump on Marsupial? Marsupial is supposed to be a black budget project. Pretty nifty how NGA geointelligence is able to keep track of all those non-structured light energy craft flying around the world. Go Cardinals, but they were lying to you when they said we don't know how they work. Anyways, next time you're visiting Washington, I don't know what this is.
DCYRS. Oh, Young Republicans.
Oh, ask for a tour of NASA Pax River. Welcome to NASA Pax River. Since you have all the clearances, it shouldn't be an issue if you were to get a tour of the special project hangars owned by Amentum Corp. This is because
really
they say
put a lot into this.
Make sure to look up. So how about now you're realizing how terribly deceived and manipulated you have been, and by people who claim to love Jesus above all else. That's funny.
Jesus has an X account?
Yeah, if you are serious about saving humanity from itself and the others, Jeremy Corbell can get you up to speed. And look, he puts this. This is angelic language here.
Right. So I keep seeing this on Reddit, and I have no idea. Can you decipher that for me?
No, I don't know what.
I have no idea what this is referencing or what it's supposed to do, what it's supposed to mean. Are we sure this is Matthew Brown?
Yeah, because even Corbell, he said we're having some new interviews with Matthew Brown, and he tagged him.
Huh. All right. I mean, so Matthew Brown's going all in, apparently.
Yeah, so I started thinking, like, what if Musk, because Musk after this fight with Trump is saying that he's not going to give these contracts anymore to Musk, right? And
right.
Musk said he's going to decommission the Dragon spacecraft.
Didn't he turn around and say, never mind, I'm not going to do that?
He did. Oh, did he really? Okay, so
yeah.
This is bunk then. This makes it bunk. Because I had a theory that what if he was briefed on these new projects and new propulsion, what if that fight is just fake so he can dismantle and then do a new one?
Yeah.
Do a new craft. Oh, I didn't know he said just kidding.
I could have sworn he said that. I might be wrong. It's me.
No, that's good. We should look for it. We should Elon.
I don't think he would tweet about it because he always deletes his tweets.
Oh.
I could have sworn I saw an article about him saying, okay, never mind, I'm not going to do that.
But the fight going on is hilarious.
It is really funny. Like I texted you, it's like watching 13-year-old girls fight on Facebook.
Yeah, and like Trump, I think yesterday called him a drug addict.
Yeah, did he really?
And then Musk said that that Trump is in the Epstein files.
I saw that one.
That is so hectic. So that's the reason why we won't get the Epstein files, is because Trump is in there.
Well, we all knew that. We knew that from the beginning. I mean, Trump is on record as saying that Epstein's a great guy with a lot of pretty young lady friends. It's not a surprise to anyone.
Right. And if you remember when Ghislaine got put in jail, he goes, I wish her very well. And once he said that, I was like, what do you mean you wish her very well? Well, they're trying to get him actually to pardon her now.
Of course they are. I don't know if we've covered it on the show, but I still don't think Epstein is dead.
We showed some things because people caught the images of him on the bed.
Right. And the ears don't match. The nose don't match. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it doesn't look like he's gonna get rid of the spacecraft. He's just still sharing stuff. Wouldn't make sense. It's so advanced.
He probably is a drug addict.
He's admitted it. He's on ketamine all the time.
Yeah. But I mean, like, he's just so erratic with what he, says and does.
Just like Trump. Could you imagine if Trump doesn't even drink?
Does he?
Oh, yeah. And no, he doesn't. But Musk just announced a new party called the America Party.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on then.
It would be nice to have a third party in this country. I'll tell you that much.
It would. Most of us hate both the Republicans and the Democrats. They're useless. So the Wall Street Journal came out with an article. I think I sent that to you. The Pentagon disinformation that fueled America's UFO mythology. Guess who their source is?
The CIA.
Well, Kirkpatrick.
Of course.
So close enough. Yeah, they're probably
close enough.
him. Yeah. So basically saying that the article says that all these UFO stories have been disinformation by the government. He says even the NDAs were just hazing like new recruits or something, that there's no truth to that. Yeah. And that, listen to this one. So that Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana, when the UFOs shut down the ICBMs,
right?
He's saying that was a test done by the military using an EMP device that they floated over 60 feet above that area.
Of course.
But listen to this. If an EMP does happen, it fries the electronics, so it can't turn back on. So they don't even think we're going to think this through. You know,
well, but that's the thing is that most people won't. Most people read this and go, "Oh yeah, okay, so all UFO stuff is bunk." It's ridiculous. People are stupid, unfortunately, as a whole.
Danny Sheehan killed it too in this post. Should we read the whole thing, or is it too big, you think?
No, we can go through it.
Okay.
So this is Danny Sheehan saying this?
Yeah. New Paradigm Institute.
Using the Wall Street Journal, the Pentagon is gaslighting the public on UFOs and UAPs again. Congress must launch a formal investigation into the Pentagon's UFO UAP disinformation campaign. The Wall Street Journal's recent article, The Pentagon, this is in quotes, the Pentagon disinformation that fueled America's UFO mythology, written on June 6, 2025, presents itself as an expose of the U.S. government's strategic use of UFO UAP myths to shield classified weapons programs, but a closer reading reveals something far more calculated and insidious, a continuation of the disinformation masquerading as disclosure. The article acknowledges that the DoD seeded UFO stories, also commonly referred to as UAP, to obscure the development of stealth aircraft, but it also aggressively advances the idea that all significant UFO UAP events, including nuclear missile interference and decades of whistleblower claims, can be explained away as mistaken sightings, Cold War pranks, and or institutional misunderstanding. This dual tactic, admitting past deception while dismissing credible modern evidence, does not clarify public understanding. It deliberately manipulates it.
Yep.
Nowhere is the Pentagon's campaign of disinformation more evident than the article's treatment of the 1967 Maelstrom Air Force Base incident, where 10 nuclear missiles went offline during a reported UAP encounter. Former Air Force Captain Robert Salas, who was on duty that night, has consistently maintained that a glowing object was observed above the facility and that missile control systems were inexplicably disabled. The journal now parrots the Pentagon's newly minted claim that the event was merely the result of a Cold War era electromagnetic pulse, or EMP, test. That ridiculous claim collapses under scrutiny. You want to take from here? I can't talk.
Yep. EMP effects are not reversible. A genuine EMP capable of disabling missile launch systems would almost certainly destroy the internal circuitry. According to a study readily available on the U.S. Air Force's Air University website, quote, the EMP effect can result in irreversible damage to a wide range of electrical and electronic equipment, particularly computers and radio or radar receivers. And of course, the government already knew what the effects of an EMP were at least 5 years before the Maelstrom event. According to an article by the American Physical Society, the 1962 Starfish Prime high-altitude nuclear detonation 250 miles above the Earth's surface emitted an incredibly strong electromagnetic pulse, or EMP, which triggered streetlight blackouts in Hawaii, which was approximately 900 miles away, and damaged at least 1/3 of the satellites in orbit at the time. Wow. Starfish Prime itself underscores the severe and often irreversible impact of EMPs on electronic infrastructure. Given that the missiles at Maelstrom Air Force Base reportedly returned to full functionality shortly after the incident, it is implausible, ridiculous even, that an EMP known for causing lasting damage was responsible. The discrepancy suggests that the disruption was temporary and not characteristic of a genuine EMP event. Even more implausible is the idea that the DoD would conduct such a test against live nuclear missiles systems during a period of peak Cold War tension. If the DoD wanted to test EMP effects, it had vast remote ranges for that purpose, not an operational ICBM silo network in Montana. And there's an even bigger problem. This wasn't an isolated incident in Montana. No, it wasn't. In 1994, ABC News Primetime Live reported on a 1982 event near Lokorovich in the former Soviet Ukraine. At an intermediate range ballistic missile base, a UFO UAP reportedly triggered a launch sequence For 15 harrowing seconds, the missiles were in full countdown before abruptly returning to standby mode. How does the Pentagon explain that instance? How does the journal account for it? Both ignored the incident because it doesn't fit the carefully crafted narrative. Consider also Explore SCUs. Yeah, they do great reports. 2023 UAP pattern recognition study, drawing from 590 rigorously documented incidents between 1945 and 1975. The study found statistically elevated UFO UAP activity at nearly every stage of America's nuclear weapons buildup and across the entirety of the U.S. atomic warfare complex. So that's radioactive materials production, weapons assembly facilities, stockpile locations, and weapons deployment bases. These facts thoroughly deflate the Pentagon's narratives about UFOs, UAP, and nuclear assets and reveal a clear pattern of intelligent, targeted surveillance by UFOs, not random sightings or misidentifications over 3 decades. That this systemic and well-documented history is omitted from the journal article is not an oversight. It is part of the strategy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Additionally, the New Paradigm Institute has been informed through meetings with congressional staff that DoD AARO has already delivered part 2 of its historical record to Congress, which remains classified. If true, the timing of the journal piece now appears less like journalism and more like strategic narrative priming, conditioning both lawmakers and the public to accept the report's pre-scripted conclusions, with the likely publication of the sanitized version coming soon. This isn't transparency, it's perception management. In that respect, the article's publication in a premier media outlet bears the hallmarks of Project Mockingbird, the CIA's Cold War era program that covertly infiltrated top-tier newsrooms to launder government narratives and suppress inconvenient truths. Yep.
Absolutely. I don't think we need to go through any more of this.
Yeah. But he's right, and I'm glad he did this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a complete takedown of this article, and I love it.
It's disappointing, though, because a lot of accounts on X are using this to, like, say, haha, see, we told you guys. Even, like, accounts that, cover this subject. Jay Anderson was one of them. Of course, Black Vault, he loves this kind of stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Who else was it? I think Chupacabra and even Red Panda.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think mostly because they're trying to say, like, see people like Elizondo. I think they're just targeting him mostly.
Yeah. Well, and I can understand that.
Yeah.
But
I wonder what this new report's going to be from AARO. So if it comes out really that if their report comes out and says that all of this is just stories from within the DoD and that it's misidentifications and contractors and people within the government were tricked to sign NDAs as some kind of hazing. If it comes out like that and this article comes before, then Sheehan is right, and this is a priming to get people just introduced and ready for the conclusions in that report.
Mm-hmm.
They will never just tell us, huh?
No, they will find every way to not tell us.
Dude, you would love this. This is Professor Simon.
Cool.
Listen to this.
It's about time that I talk to you about what's really going on. I've kind of been sworn to secrecy about this. There's a European group in the European continent who don't want to be public yet, but they have fitted a new type of receiver which breaks all the normal boundaries. They fitted a type of transmitter and receiver to their radio telescopes, which actually lets them communicate with extraterrestrial intelligence. They don't want to go public about it yet. The technology is out there. I've already mentioned the inventor's name, Gunter Nimitz. He demonstrated this quantum tunneling technology to a group of SETI people in Europe who said that they would give it a try to see if ET were actually using quantum tunneling technology rather than traditional electromagnetic radio frequencies that most of SETI are looking for.
That's crazy, huh?
That is crazy.
Quantum tunneling technology. So that's...
I mean, it makes sense because... I mean, radio.
It's about time that
radio waves are relatively slow.
Very exactly.
If you can quantum tunnel, you can essentially communicate very quickly,
instantaneously. Yeah, oh yeah, instantaneously. Because if it's what is that called when their particles are born at the same time, and no matter what the distance is, if one spin changes, the other one spin changes instantaneously.
Yeah, it's quantum particles. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you sent me this, which I didn't see anywhere. Mellon says another civilization may be steering humanity. Apparently, he made this video for an event that was canceled, so he released it anyway.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, he says pretty scary things.
Complex topic. This one, and it's really got my head spinning. You guys like and subscribe.
From time immemorial, our forebears have gazed at the night skies, wondering if we are alone in the universe. Remarkably, a handful of early thinkers, including the Roman philosopher Lucretius and the Renaissance scholar Giordano Bruno, recognized that the cosmos must contain other worlds with intelligent beings. Writing nearly a century before Christ's birth, Lucretius stated, quote, "All this visible universe is not unique in nature, and we must believe there are in other regions of space, other worlds, other beings, and other men," end quote. Today, thanks to modern astronomy and the discovery of exoplanets, we know the sheer vastness of the cosmos makes the prospect of other inhabited worlds not only plausible, but a statistical certainty. One recent estimate concludes the odds we are alone in the universe are less than one chance in 10 billion trillion. Another recent estimate suggests that we share the Milky Way with over 10,000 alien civilizations, most far older and more advanced than us. In short, it seems inevitable that alien civilizations have arisen elsewhere and are as abundant, diverse, and sophisticated as anything imagined by the authors of science fiction. Consequently, although the title of this conference, "We Are Not Alone," may sound sensationalistic, it actually expresses a view shared by most astronomers. Distant alien life would be of purely theoretical interest if there was no prospect of interacting with these civilizations. However, there is a large and growing body of evidence indicating that at least one alien civilization has found Earth and is monitoring us, perhaps even seeking to influence the trajectory of our development.
Okay.
This development. Military accounts of unidentified anomalous phenomenon, UAP, date back to at least World War II. The historical data includes hundreds of thousands of documented UAP reports, many involving multiple witnesses and radar and other sensor data. U.S. fighter pilots have testified under oath before Congress about encounters with intelligently controlled vehicles demonstrating performance characteristics we do not understand and cannot emulate. There are military videos corroborating some of this testimony, as well as radar and signals intelligence data. In a refreshing act of candor, Dr. John Kozlowski, who presently leads the U.S. government's UAP investigation, recently stated, quote, "UAP are real. We've received 1,600 cases."
I want to get to the part where he says AI. It's weird how we always filter it through what we're seeing as advanced technology, right?
Yeah.
Now that we have AI, we're saying that these things are AI. Even Joe Rogan was saying it the other night.
I think that's a problem with human intelligence in a way, where we filter everything through. I mean, it's not a problem per se, but we filter everything through the lens of what we can understand, right? And so right now we can understand AI, and so we go, "Oh, it's AI." We're unable to think outside of the human paradigm.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly what it is. So whenever we do some kind of advancement, we always then apply that to the phenomenon.
Yep.
Brave, highly educated, and reliable military personnel. What makes this situation even more ironic and surprising is the exceptional global popularity of fictional accounts of alien life. For example, the top 3 highest grossing films of all time feature aliens. Today, Star Wars has some 16.8 million followers on Instagram, and Marvel Studios, which prominently features alien characters, has 69 million Instagram followers. By contrast, the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, which investigates and catalogs UAP sightings and provides up-to-date UAP reports replete with photos and videos, has a mere 60,000 Instagram followers. The math shows that for each MUFON follower on Instagram, there are roughly 20,000 Marvel fans. This disparity between the public's insatiable appetite for fictional alien narratives and its relative disinterest in accounts of UAP is itself a fascinating topic. It demonstrates a keen public interest in alien themes, yet it remains a largely subliminal interest, perhaps due to the conscious mind's desire to avert what psychologists call, quote, cognitive dissonance. This awkward term describes a mechanism our minds employ to protect us from conflicting information that could cause debilitating stress and anxiety. It is not hard to see why conscious recognition of an alien presence would for many people prove anxiety-producing, disruptive, and difficult to reconcile with society's prevailing view of reality. Simply stated, the issue of UAP and aliens is not only subtle and complex, for many people it is also anxiety-producing and therefore exceptionally difficult to accept or to process. This, I would argue, is one of the greatest challenges we face in seeking to raise...
I didn't hear anything about AI. Maybe it was before.
Neither did I.
Yeah, and this is the end of it too, so...
is massively compounded by the unique and unprecedented obstacles involved in applying conventional scientific methods to studying UAP. Suffice it to say that never before in history have we studied anything that surpasses us in intelligence and technological development. In sum, no issue could be more profound or important, but in seeking to study the issue and raise public awareness, we are also faced with unique and unprecedented challenges.
AI-controlled vehicles from a different planet. Christopher Mellon is...
So he said that?
Maybe if we watch the whole thing, but
yeah,
that guy kind of summed it up right at the end.
All right, let's listen to him.
Suggesting it can't all be AI controlled, right? David Grush had appeared in front of Congress saying that we have retrieved NH.
Is he the one putting the music in the background?
He must be. Must be. These guys love their music.
Oh my god. And this is nice.
Pope Leo the 14th?
Yes, 14th.
Pope Leo the 14th is poised to lead the Catholic Church in revealing details about extraterrestrial life. This is a post from Reddit. Whistleblowing attorney Daniel Sheehan, former Vatican advisor, claims Pope Leo the 14th is poised to lead the Catholic Church in revealing details about extraterrestrial life. Daniel Sheehan, a key figure within the church, suggests the Pope aims to merge science and theology in the 21st century.
Smart.
Sheehan references a significant 2009 Vatican statement which suggested that exploring the existence of extraterrestrial life deserves philosophical and theological consideration. Sheehan references, we just said that.
In 2009 Vatican statement is just exploring. I think we talked about this paper too that they released.
He says that he thinks that Pope Leo is going to be the disclosure pope.
Well, they always say that.
Yeah, they always say that.
Right. Well, he might be. You never know.
Here's hoping. Here's praying. Haha.
Daniel Sheehan, a key figure within the church. Sorry. What's his position in the church?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that myself.
Key figure. It says it right there.
Oh, man.
Oh, Redditors.
So funny and so stupid at the same time.
Yeah, and he is legal counsel for the Jesuits, which is pretty hectic, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, they're supposedly a very powerful organization, and he's their lawyer. Cool. Well, we shall see. That will definitely be a game changer.
Yes, it would.
from Red Panda. Oh, there's another. So remember the leaker that came out and was talking smack about Jay Stratton and Elizondo?
Yes.
So he came out again. And apparently, like listen to this. He goes, ask why Lou Elizondo would visit Jeremy Corbell's personal home multiple times over many, many weekends in order to train Jeremy. Train him for what exactly? If this is going to be refuted by Jeremy, then I will leak. If this is going to be reviewed by Jeremy, then I will leak images of when Jeremy secretly took pictures of Lou being at his house for days on end. This is very concerning. More importantly, however, ask why Jay Stratton prevented multiple engineers from getting their own laboratories. Did Jay not want various engineers who focused on rotating capacitors to succeed in tapping zero-point energy? Who was Jay working for? And if Jay denies this, then I will continue to post things that these spooks do not realize that I have. There are many liars in this field. It isn't even funny.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so he's the one that leaked the Bass screenshots, and I guess this is the entire post. But the Tic Tac, that's right. He released the Tic Tac study. Where is it? I have it here, I think. Is this it? Oh yeah, so this is the SCU on the Nimitz encounter. So the Bass, which is Bigelow Aerospace, whatever. They did a huge report on the Tic Tac. So in that report, it's very long, apparently, very technical, but this is a summary of it. The object was precognitive in behavior. The radar data from the Spy 1B system showed that the Tic Tac descended from 28,000 feet to sea level in 0.78 seconds.
Damn.
A feat requiring acceleration of up to 5,880 Gs. But here's what no one focuses on. That data was correlated by both radar and infrared, meaning this was not a sensor glitch or hallucination. It was a multi-spectrum confirmed real-world event. And what's worse, the object decelerated to a dead stop mid-air. The FLIR camera picked up zero exhaust or thermal signature. That means no jet wash, no chemical heat, no electromagnetic discharge. The report even mentions the object's lack of Doppler radar shift, implying it had no moving parts or air displacement. It wasn't flying through air. It was displacing positions without pushing against anything. Either it's manipulating gravity directly or cheating space-time altogether. The object didn't react randomly. It anticipated the pilot's rendezvous point before they even arrived. The SCU modeled this with geospatial plotting and concluded that the Tic Tac reached the cap point hundreds of miles away instantaneously. Not seconds faster, instant. No aircraft does that. No drone, no hypersonic glide vehicle, at least that we know of. That's either wormhole level displacement or a kind of dimensional bleed through, and every sensor confirmed it happened. The report isn't classified. It's open. You can download it, but almost no one reads it because it's dense, mathematical, and damning.
Wow.
Yeah, because now they're saying that that's one of ours. That's Lockheed Martin, right? That's
Right. Yeah, I think we covered that last week. That's the new story coming out. They're saying that the Tic Tac was ours.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we have some crazy anti-gravity stuff, but this sounds insane. There wouldn't be a war in Ukraine. None of this stuff happening in the world. I mean, those would just end in seconds if you just show governments these things.
Yeah, exactly.
What would be the argument against it? Well, if we show them, then they know it's real. Then they can create their own. But why even have them then?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know if you sent me this. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, the reason they wouldn't want to show it is just because people make money off of war, right?
Yeah, that's true. Why would you want to end war when you can just spend hundreds of billions of dollars just printing it and going into people's pockets? You've sent me stuff about her before. We've talked about her as well. What's her name? Eskridge, Amy Eskridge. So I think this is Falcon Research. They do research into UFOs and metamaterials and anti-gravity. So he's saying after she visited them, because he interviewed her, I forget his name. He interviewed her, and he's saying that he got Havana syndrome.
Oh, interesting.
From when she visited, yeah. There's alien scientists. So Chupacabra looks like he's interviewing them, or it's a space or something.
I could talk on Havana syndrome. I got hit by that once.
Really?
Yeah. Simultaneously, they hacked my phone and put a gun in my Amazon checkout thing, and it was.
Well, that's like a whole targeted individual thing. That's
yeah. It happened right here at the lab. We had a visiting scientist over who was.
I don't even talk about half the stuff that's happened to me because it's like people accuse me of lying and making it up when I do. So I just ignore it and move on. So it's like,
and then they threatened to abduct my daughter and take her on a time machine. Oh, it was crazy shit.
What?
That's crazy.
Yeah, they broke into my apartment.
Crazy.
All my computers. So.
The goal is to discourage you from doing the science. So like,
yeah, I have for 7 years now. I've had a mysterious flu-like symptoms that come and go with alarming speed. I have metal parts in my spine after a racing accident, so I have paresthesia everywhere. But now, in the last 7 years, I've gotten strange bouts of severe nausea for like a day, and then the next day I feel fine, and then ringing in the ears, which also relates to paresthesia, and the doctors can find nothing wrong with me. I said, my God, I've been up all night with fevers, sweating and everything. I go into the doctor's office, he's like, all right. And they take my blood and they do the whole thing. And it's like, we found nothing.
Yeah.
I'm older.
That's very common as far as what I can tell from the research, it's very common with these.
Last 10 years.
I've had that happen to me several times. One time, directed energy weapon. We got them on camera. We got license plate numbers. It was a rental car. It was during COVID, so there was a parking lot across the street. They were parked there, aiming the weapon through the door. The next time it happened to me was I didn't have my equipment grounded properly.
That's when you had that NASA scientist there, right? Amy Eskridge was there.
Amy Eskridge, yes. That's when that happened. The second time it happened was when I didn't have my equipment properly grounded. X-band microwaves, when the wavelength is about that long, that's the length of many of your neuron pathways. And I felt just like you felt. Nausea comes on really fast. You feel like you have a fever and stuff.
Fatigue at the yin yang, like you can't even get out of bed. Fatigue for no reason.
Yeah, and then it's gone. A day, and then it's just gone. And that's when we made tinfoil hats, PPE at the lab. And it goes away.
Really?
Yeah. And if you have those problems again, when you should get yourself a silver mesh cloth. It'll cost you like $150. Cover yourself in it, and that'll protect you from EMF.
That's funny. There's this company that creates shirts and beanies and that do protect you against EMF. And they use silver threading to do that. So he's saying that they made tinfoil hats and it worked.
Well, man, whatever works. I mean, Havana syndrome, I don't know. Have we talked about it on the show before?
Yes, the one that happened, in Cuba, right, in the embassy. And there's been studies. I think they even FOIA'd it as well. So the government knows it happens, and it is a technology.
Some sort of energy-directed weapon.
Yeah. But see, so they do this against scientists. I think people like journalists, they probably don't care. But if you're doing the science, that's what they want to discourage.
Yeah, of course. Because you can't question mainstream science or mainstream journalism. AJ talks about it all the time on the Y-Files. Who's the guy? He's got Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix.
Hancock.
Yeah. He talks about how human history is a lot more different than we think it is. But the second you start bringing it up, you get attacked by, the mainstream media.
Yeah, well, look what happened here. The Soul Foundation has been deleted from Wikipedia.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's always good when Wikipedia, supposed, encyclopedia of the internet, starts deleting stuff. That's always a good sign.
I mean, the Soul Foundation is well funded. It's full of scientists, full of investors, and they do the real science. I think SCU is funded by them as well. So they're doing scientific research and work. They're not like some fringe conspiracy theorists out there. But of course, while the pages for skeptic organizations remain unaltered and are linked as primary sources for the UFO page, which breaks rules on neutrality, fairness, and verifiability.
Yeah. The the people in charge do not want us talking about UFOs and UFO technology. They really don't.
Right, and that's why or at least people that are just researching this, where are you going to go? Wikipedia. So what's Wikipedia going to show? That it's all skeptical stuff, and all the serious people have been deleted.
Yep. Yeah, funny how that works, huh?
Yeah, I mean, the real psyop is that there's nothing to this subject. That's the real psyop. When people keep saying, well, the government is saying that it's real, it's a psyop, the government is not saying it's real.
Yeah, they're doing everything in their power to say that it's not real.
Yeah, and fine, these whistleblowers could be a distraction and disinformation, because that's how they play. That's how they play it. They want to control the narrative, so they do it from both sides.
Exactly.
So this is a weird new footage released by AARO. Of course, they're saying it's a balloon, and it could be. It really could be. And if it is, why don't they just release the real stuff, not the balloons?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, man.
But yeah, I don't know. Let's see what you think about this. It could very possibly could be one, but it is still anomalous. I mean,
the speed that it's moving doesn't.
Well, it's parallax. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's parallax.
I don't think it's a. Man, that's a weird one.
Yeah, and the way it morphs. Come on, get it. Get to the middle. Sorry, I'm gonna mute.
I mean, it's incredible. When you sent me this footage, I mentioned that it looks kind of similar to the one, I think it came out of Afghanistan a couple years ago. Very, very strange looking.
Yeah. I mean, remember that pod one?
That's the one I was talking about. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think that was Italy.
Was it Italy? Okay, I couldn't remember. No, you know what? The Afghanistan one was the jellyfish one. That's.
Oh yeah.
No, but I think you're right. I think it was Italy.
So, balloon possibly. It's definitely a weird one. And where in the Middle East is this? Is that snow on the mountains or is this water? Oh, that's water.
Yeah, I think it's. Is it? I kind of thought it was clouds, to be honest.
And this is just the zooming.
Right.
Or not zooming, the focus. So it's still cool stuff.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, what kind of a fucked up balloon is that?
I don't know. Is this from another angle now? It's still not very clear. Cool. I mean, cool. At least they're doing that. According to the report, likely depicts a slow-moving spheroidal object. AARO assesses with high confidence that the object depicted in the video is almost certainly 95% likelihood a consumer-grade reflective foil balloon.
Well, what kind of balloon is shaped like that?
I don't know. Exactly. Give us an example.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if they could at least put it some sort of comparison, like to show that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that doesn't look like a balloon to me. Right there. Pause it right there. Yeah, what kind of balloon is that?
I don't know. And it's hard to know how big it is, too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And the way it turns. I mean, it's like, do you know what I mean? It's like something's observing.
Yeah, exactly.
The way it's turning. And then it looks like it's opening up here or something. Now it looks like it's a flying alien head.
Yeah, it does.
Weird. Huh. Yeah. Anyway, AARO released the real stuff.
Did they say where the footage came from?
It just says Middle East. Even if you click.
No. Like who was taking the footage?
Report from a U.S. military service consisting of 1 minute and 36 of full motion. Let's see. Maybe if we click on the AARO link.
So the U.S. But it was the U.S. military that took this footage.
Yes, it was U.S. military.
If this truly was a balloon, do we really think trained military operators would see this and go, "Oh, we really need to film this balloon"?
Yeah, exactly. No. Like, I think maybe initially for the first 10, 20 seconds, because it's interesting. But then if your systems are saying, it's just a balloon, and I'm sure they have systems that do that, or you're wasting resources. You're wasting resources if you don't. Yeah. So to follow it for this long, instead of doing your mission,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, you can get in trouble if you're just like doing this with a balloon. I would think.
Corporal Smith, quit filming that balloon.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, all this is your superiors are going to see this. What'd you do that day? There's briefings before and after. You get it's a debriefing of what you did that day. It's always that's just the process.
Yeah.
So what did the guy put in the report here? I filmed a balloon.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, it makes no sense.
And why send it to AARO if they're going to debunk it?
None of this story adds up.
No, it doesn't. So anyway, it is anomalous. And here's what's the new guy's name? Kozlowski. So he got interviewed by ABC News, and he says something cool.
It's a potential problem, a national security problem, safety of flight issue.
Potential non-human intelligence.
Perhaps.
That's all hey, it's something.
we are making progress at a snail's pace here, folks, but it is it is certainly progress.
We have some UFO videos too. Did I send you this? You know, sometimes I only get to this stuff late at night, so I don't want to bother you.
You can always bother me, man.
Is that fine? Even if it's like 11 p.m. or like okay, cool.
Usually I keep the sound off of my phone after like 10, so it won't.
Oh, all right.
I'll see it the next morning.
Okay, cool. You'll like this. Okay, you.
What in the world?
Looks like a G.I. Joe, doesn't it?
It does. What the hell? It's the Silver Surfer.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Dude, that's hilarious. Is that a joke? I think
It's gotta be, right?
No, there it is. Yeah, it's gotta be.
Or is this another one of those things where it's a millionaire on a jetpack?
Oh, yeah.
Or a billionaire, I should say.
It would be loud though, right? Here, let me put this.
Yeah, you'd think so, unless they've got anti-grav technology.
Is this weird? How do you know he's coming?
Yeah, I had that same question.
Yeah. And then this is from he went to the other window when it went over his house.
Interesting. That is weird.
Yeah.
What are they? Yeah, what a
What's this? They tried to take her face. What really happened? And they're proving. Really? This is what.
Huh. Now
we covered this for sure. The aliens are like tear
the faces. Did we?
Yeah, you loved that when that was happening. Oh, you were fascinated by it. Yeah, G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. Yeah.
What in the world? Come on, they're trolling us.
It's got to be some sort of CGI thing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, what else we got from Think Tank? He said this is from 2022 outside of a party in Missouri.
Nice.
This is really bizarre.
What the fuck is that, man?
Whoa.
You just see it just disappear?
Yeah, what the hell?
Does he slow it down? No, it doesn't look like he slows it down. But yeah, even if you listen to the kids, they're shocked.
Oh, yeah, they're freaking out.
What is that, man? What the fuck is that, man? This shit we're getting invaded by aliens.
Wow. Was that lightning at the very end?
Oh, really?
Or was it just some sort of camera effect?
Oh yeah, just camera.
What the fuck is that, man? This shit we're getting invaded by aliens.
Hear them scream when that happens?
Yeah,
I mean, you can't fake that, man. It's like almost when they get noticed, like, oh shit, they can see us.
Yeah, and that always seems to be the case with UFOs. Like at first, it seems like they want to get noticed, and then when they do, they zoom off.
Exactly, that's what it looks like. No, this is a new one. 8 days ago. Video of pulsing orb that dropped out of the sky and came to a dead stop, filmed from cockpit by a commercial pilot over Mexico.
I'm amazed this is still up.
I know.
It's like, oh shit, I was gonna tell you shooting star. Shooting star, but then it stopped, huh? Yeah, let me zoom in, man.
So he said it was a shooting star, and then it stopped, and that's when he started taking the video.
Yeah, that's always a good sign.
It's like an orb, man. Look at that shit. It's pulsating. Oh, this is awesome. And he's not on TCAS, man. Huh. Well, I can tell Rita now. That's interesting. That is, dude. That is shit hot. Platillos, platillos. He's a pulsating orb. Look at that, dude. Look at that. Turn on the tail light. Oh, it is on. Okay, cool. Never mind. Oh, man. Look at that thing, dude.
Damn, it goes on for a while.
Flip the TCAS switch up and see if you see anything on the display, on the ND.
Well, this guy's a real pilot. He's trying to get on radar, it seems. He told the guy to switch it on.
Anything? Any TCAS returns? No. Okay, flip the switch down. He's definitely above our altitude. Yeah, that man. This guy is not reporting TCAS. That is a unidentified flying object, bro. I can finally say I saw one now. That is cool.
I love his enthusiasm.
And it's pulsating too, man. That is nuts.
Is it really pulsating, or is it because he's zooming in and out?
See, I was wondering the same thing.
What city? Is it Monterrey?
Yeah, it seems like he's zooming in and out. Because that's a weird kind of pulse. That's like I'm getting closer to you and getting farther away.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird one.
How close to Monterrey? We're about 150 miles from Monterrey.
Monterey.
Oh man, that is phenomenal, dude! I'm so glad you saw that, and you saw it drop out of the sky and just stop. Then it just stopped.
Whoa!
Oh, this is awesome, man! Oh, this is fucking cool.
It's funny. It just reminded me of like that's it's not like what Valentich. Oh no, now I forget his name. The guy, the Australian guy that we just covered.
Right.
Yeah, it reminds me of him. Like, but he wasn't happy when he saw the UFO.
No, he certainly didn't seem to be.
Well, these guys wouldn't either have actually came on top of the airplane, right?
Yikes. Yeah,
and messing with it.
I had to call my brother-in-law. He lives in Puebla.
I'm gonna call my brother.
I mean, there's nothing flashing, but I can see it when you put no, but look how it pulses though. Here, let me zoom in. Jeez, man, that is freaky, man. You think it's a weather balloon? No.
The guy asked that you think it's a weather balloon. After seeing it, he said, I thought it was a shooting star. Now he's asking if it was a weather balloon.
Of course, you got to cover your ass.
Oh, dude.
No, not with lights like that.
Because it doesn't fall like that either.
No, the only weather balloon we have is near Harlingen. It's 15,000 feet AGL. This thing's above our altitude. I just can't tell. That's why I asked you to hit the TCAS, just in case it was an airplane.
Man, how freaky would that be, though?
Dude.
For real.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially that you're responsible for like hundreds of people in the plane.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like so stoked and happy.
It's pulsing, man. Look at that.
That is a weird pulse.
Yeah. Man, I don't know what to think of this. They clearly saw something.
Yeah.
But what the hell is it doing?
I don't know.
Like that, and then stopped and hovered. He's probably just checking us out. I was gonna turn on the light over there, but it's like he's turning away from us.
Don't turn on the light. Oh, it's turning away.
That is phenomenal, man. Look at that.
Well, and he was saying they can't pick it up on their radar or whatever he calls it.
Exactly.
CCAS or something.
Yeah, TCAS system.
See there? All right. Oh, it's the clouds.
What? It's going away.
He's almost like he's over the weather or something. Yeah, we're gonna lose him in the clouds. Son of a bitch. Well, there it is.
Oh.
Right there, man, on my ND. There's our airplane. And there's no TCAS. There's weather about 40 miles off our left wingtip where this thing seems to have disappeared.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Really cool footage.
Yeah, there's no TCAS returns, man. It's not an airplane. It didn't have strobes or beacon or nothing.
Holy shit.
Yeah, what did the comments say? I'm interested about that.
Excited Pie is saying new. This was it's 2020. We've never seen this before.
Yeah, what?
Wow. It's a shame that the majority of people don't know enough about optics and or how cameras work. If they did, we would get orders of magnitude less videos like this. What's this guy saying? The zooming in and on. Okay, the zooming in and on a point of light in the darkness always makes goofy. All right.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what you were saying at the beginning, where we're talking about zooming in on a point of light in the middle of the night. Is going to make it's going to be out of focus and blurry and not very good. Yeah, guy says it's not pulsing. That's the camera's autofocus.
That's what we think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. So Captain Delgado describes how it unfolded and what he saw with his eyes and how it differed from this video. Personal testimony is nearly useless, so we'll stick to the evidence that this is the video. It looks in every way like a camera with autofocus trying to focus on a random light in the sky.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's not anomalous, though. But yeah, I agree. I think it makes the video be more disingenuous. That he's trying to tell us it's pulsing when he's just zooming in and out like that.
Well, it wasn't the fact that he was zooming in and out. That's what the comments were saying. It's the camera trying to autofocus on it.
Oh, okay, that makes sense too. Right,
Yeah.
trying to get it, and I just can't.
But I think he said in the video that it was pulsating, right?
Yeah, he did. He kept saying it was pulsating. And it's not on their radar system at all, and there's no beacon or anything like that. They said they thought it was a shooting star that came in and then just stopped.
Yeah, very weird. Cool footage. I like it.
Yeah, you like this one too from France. I sent this one to you.
Yeah, you did. This one's good.
I love how there's cars just passing by.
No, right? I'd be slamming on the brakes and like pulling off the side of the road and like, what the hell?
Nobody cares. It's just sitting there. Could that be CGI? Probably. It could be.
Yeah. It's another weird one. That's the problem with the internet these days is you never know if something is CGI or not. I mean,
because it's getting so good.
Yeah, and with AI and stuff too. I mean, someone could film a legit UFO landing on their front lawn, and people are going to go in the comments and go, "Oh, that's CGI." Oh, that's AI. I can tell from the shadows.
Yeah. So I guess does this thing take off or anything?
It just hangs there ominously,
which is even scarier.
It really is. It's like the T3RB, the triangle craft.
All right, that's it. That's all we got.
Huh.
France has a lot of UFOs.
Yeah, they do. I have, questions though.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you keep filming?
Yeah.
And where does it go?
At least it's not 30 seconds, but yeah, it's still very small. Very short, I mean.
Yeah.
There's always a problem with that when it's just a short video. Like continue until it's gone.
Right. Like I want to see it. I want to see it leave. Because otherwise I think it's a kite or a balloon or something.
Yeah.
Like if it shows no propulsion, then I'm not too compelled to believe it's a UFO. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's a cloud.
Yeah,
it's not a cloud.
I think that guy was watching the wrong part of the video. He was looking at all the stuff in the background instead of what was being filmed.
Right. So this is SpaceX Raptor 3. Have you seen how efficient they've made these rockets?
No.
Boosters? Dude, look at this once he turns it on. I mean, it is really impressive.
Is really, I'd say, kind of alien technology rocket engine.
Huh.
Of course he says that.
I mean, even industry experts When
Look
we
at
showed a
that.
picture of the Raptor
Yeah,
3,
wow.
said that engine is not complete. So then we said, well, here's the engine not complete, firing at a level of efficiency that has never been achieved before. So.
Well, very cool.
I mean, that is one.
Yeah, he's something else, this Musk.
Well, he sure's got a good crew working for him.
Absolutely. The engineers he has, yeah. But he knows how to motivate them. I think, people, if they have a good leader, they'll be more motivated to do things.
Yeah, it's a little bit like, oh, God. The guy who ran Apple. Why am I blanking?
Oh, Steve Jobs.
Thank you. Jesus Christ, that's embarrassing. Like, Steve Jobs was not this great inventor, and I don't even know how great of a leader he was, but man, he got the people at Apple working on some crazy technology before its time.
Yeah, exactly. It really has to do with leadership. I mean, even if he wasn't the guy who did it with his hands, it's the same thing with Musk. He has a vision, and then he motivates these guys to create it.
Yeah.
He sent me this. I think it was reporting on a podcast called the Ecosystemic Podcast.
Yeah, scientists and engineers achieve breakthrough in space-time distortion, bringing warp drive closer to reality. We don't need to. Well, let's see. This guy, Dr. Chance Glenn, was featured on the Ecosystemic Podcast episode of Beyond. Recently published a study on the European Journal of Engineering and Technology Research Today. Reports of laboratory generation of gravitational waves, marking a significant leap toward warp drive capabilities in advanced propulsion systems.
Cool.
Potential applications include revolutionary propulsion systems for spacecraft, stabilization of fusion reactors, advanced communication systems, breakthrough in biomedical applications. Interesting. I'd love to hear how that would help with biomedical stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's potentially the physics behind UFOs. Glenn is reporting gravitational disturbances within the spark gap plasma when there is sufficiently high energy density. After other potential factors that could contribute to fringe displacements, such as vibrations, shock waves, and index of refraction change, were mitigated, we conclude that the minor gravitational lensing occurs at the center of the spark, causing the laser path to be distorted.
Hell yes.
So now, note they are claiming to have created energy densities in the order of 10 to the 11 or 10 to the 12 megajoules. This is significant considering the energy density of batteries is in order of 10 to the 8, and oil is up to 10 to the 10. Nuclear energy density is between 10 and 15. So they are claiming they have created an energy density within the plasma that is more energy dense than batteries and oil by at least 1 or 2 orders of magnitude.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, but if Musk is not shutting down the spacecraft, then my theory's out the window. I was saying he's going to just create a new one.
Or he'll buy up this technology here and use it for his whatever the next rocket is.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get to Mars, you really can't do it. Rockets are great for like launching satellites and whatever, but to get off to traverse the solar system, I don't think rockets are going to do it.
That's one of the reasons why I love the series The Expanse so much. They always talk about how long it takes to get to places. You don't just you're at Mars in 10 seconds. It takes like weeks or months. I can't remember how long it takes in The Expanse.
I think it might be weeks. All right, so we're wrapping up here. This is a great video about Kash Patel and Bongino before they became FBI directors.
Great.
Kash Patel was on Rogan, I think yesterday or before yesterday. And
it was like I think it's a couple days ago.
Yeah. So this is a funny video.
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if release the names, right?
And I've said it, Dan Bongino said it, we've reviewed all the information and the American public is going to get as much as we can release. He killed himself. Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities? Or do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on? Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you if it existed?
Whoops.
I mean, we saw, if you remember, when Epstein was first arrested, they had these amateur drone operators that went into Epstein Island, and they were filming the FBI in there, taking everything. And
yeah,
and they just spent months destroying evidence, and they told us they were destroying evidence. Congress was telling us they were destroying evidence. Patel, I think, was saying it as well, or Bondi, the AG, she was saying they're destroying evidence. So, okay, so basically, you read what you were allowed to read, and you're basically saying, so what is that called? Plausible deniability, right?
Well, it's weirder because Bondi was saying she had evidence on her desk. Remember? Like,
yes.
Yeah, and now there's no evidence?
It's probably something like this is going on. We touched on it last week, and you sent me the video, and it's Bill Hicks.
Yes.
This might be exactly what's happening.
Love some Bill Hicks.
Puppet show. The elite.
I have this feeling, man, because there's a handful of people actually run everything. That's true. It's provable. It's not I'm not a conspiracy nut. It's provable. Handful, very small elite run and own these corporations, which include the mainstream media. I have this feeling who's ever elected president, like Clinton was, no matter what your promises you promise on the campaign trail, blah, 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 when you win, you go into this smoky room with the 12 industrialist, capitalist scumfucks who got you in there, and you're in this smoky room, and this little film screen comes down, and a big guy in a cigar, roll the film. And it's a shot of a Kennedy assassination from an angle you've never seen before. It looks suspiciously off the grassy knoll. And then the screen goes up and the lights come up and they go to the new president. Any questions? Just what my agenda is. First we bomb Baghdad. You got it.
It's true, man. I really do believe that.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Bill Hicks.
I mean, it's so funny. He said that it's in the room of capitalist scumfucks that got him there.
Yeah.
So true.
I don't believe it's that far off from what really goes on. Truly.
Yeah. Because every time they get in these positions of power, they just have to just become part of the cover-up.
Yep, every single time.
And you just sent me this as well, and I'm surprised this is still up on Reddit, and it's Alex Jones telling us who did 9/11, and he's got Myron Gaines on there as well. He's a podcaster.
We thought, let's give money to Osama and the Mujahideen, and they're going to fight the Russians. It's going to be great. Next thing we know that, he's attacking us. Obviously it wasn't just Osama himself.
Oh, yeah, they used it as a cutout. It was to take our rights. It was the government.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, this is the government.
It was the U.S. government, Israel, 9/11. We all know that.
100%, yeah. This is the government.
It was the U.S. government, Israel, 9/11. We all know that.
100%, yeah. This is the government.
It was the U.S. government, Israel, 9/11. We all know that.
100%, yeah. This is the government.
It was the U.S. government, Israel, 9/11. We all know that.
100%, yeah. This is the government.
It was the U.S. government, Israel, 9/11. We all know that.
100%, yeah. This is the government.
Does it just keep repeating?
I think so.
Whoops.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. There you go.
So anyway, this is actually a really good post, and it just goes through all of the media, and the whole lie about the Iraq War, and that they had no weapons of mass destruction, where that came from. Look at that. The true cost of the Iraq War was $3 trillion and beyond.
And again, when you look at who the terrorists were that flew the planes into the Twin Towers, they were almost all Saudi Arabians.
Yeah, like 90% of them. I think there was like one guy who was Lebanese, and then there's the supposed ringleader. He was Egyptian, but yeah, the rest were all Saudis. Alan Dershowitz, Oh, now I went to an Epstein thing. Well, because Epstein has a weird painting in his house, right? Of
he has
George
a
Bush.
lot of weird paintings. It's not
Yeah.
just one. He's got several.
True, yeah. But there's that one with George Bush sitting there with the two towers collapsing. He's got like a paper airplane.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, that one obviously is very weird.
And the one with, Mohammed Atta's called his father a day after 9/11 and blamed Israel's Mossad for the attacks. 9/11 hijack suspects alive and well.
Yeah, we don't have the time to go through this whole post, but I recommend everyone click on it, especially before it gets taken down. This is Reddit after all, but the poster did a really good job of laying out all the information here.
Yep. And that's what we have for today. That was a quick 2 hours. Didn't feel like 2 hours.
Yeah, it flew by.
Yeah.
Hope
time passes when you're having fun.
It certainly does. Well, Adam, do you want to share anything with our audience?
Yeah, I mean, this week you sent me a Reddit post, and it was about the case that we covered last week, the Hopkinsville case, the goblins, right?
Yes.
So I want to tell our listeners that would be great that when you see stuff like that we've already covered, that if you can share the post that we've done or the episode that we did, and that would really get us more exposure. And feel free to take clips that you think are funny or anything like that and put them on social media. Would really appreciate the support and get us up there in the algorithms. Even though there's so much competition out there, so many podcasts in this field, I think we do have a good product here where we go into a deep dive with something that's old, and then we cover what's happening in the news with that. So it kind of gives the bigger picture of the subject and the seriousness of it.
Absolutely. And always, tell a friend, tell a family member about the show. Recommend us as much as you can.
Yeah. We don't have an agenda. We're not owned by anyone. We don't even do ads for that matter. We don't do ad reads. We don't depend on that because we want to remain independent.
Absolutely.
From all that stuff.
Absolutely.
But we are also on X, so we're at UAP the podcast. I'm at Breakaway Civil, and Topher is at Topher at all, and we're on all the YouTube, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, all those platforms, just in case we get censored anywhere. And we're on all the podcasting platforms, so there's no excuse for not finding our material.
True enough, but I will say YouTube does throttle our views.
It does. Most of our YouTube views are from recommendations from YouTube. That's what it shows me, the analytics at least.
Oh, really?
But in the search, yeah, you're right. If you just want to search for us, it's very difficult to find because I guess everyone tries to show up for UAP and UFO podcast, kind of those keywords. So the bigger shows always show up before us. However, I think if you do get specific and either spell it out or spell out what we're covering, whatever the case is, we should show up in the first 10.
Yeah, when I search for our show on YouTube, I always just spell out Uncovering Anomalies podcast, and then it pops up it's like one of the first ones.
And it's not easy to remember, we know, but
trust me, we know. I can't tell you how many episodes I've screwed up the introduction of the show.
And we're on episode 121.
121. I can't believe it's been this long.
I know, me neither. What we do need though also is another slow song that we could do in the outro. Although I love the message in the static. Message in the static.
I like that one too. I mean, all right, so I'll start. I got some music to write, I guess.
Yeah, it's nice. The fast one when we start, and then a slower one when we.
Sure. Yeah, can do. No problem.
Nice.
All right.
Link right on all of our shows, so you guys can show us support, buy us a coffee, all that jazz.
All of that jazz. And of course, everything we've discussed today will be in the show notes. So
correct.
When you want to click and learn something a little bit more or dive deeper into something we talked about, you can always look in the show notes, and those links will be there.
Exactly. If no one has taken them down, but yeah, those links will be there.
Yeah, true.
I do want to say one more thing. I think AI is starting to also believe in this subject. It's not debunking it anymore. And it could be because people are just putting so much information in it and like evidence and talking to it so much. Like when I do our show, at least for like descriptions and stuff like that to save time, I do put in all of the evidence, like our show notes go in there. So it knows like what we spoke about. And it goes through all those papers, and now when I have conversations with it to analyze some things, it really analyzes it with the mindset that these are non-human intelligence. So that's crazy. It wasn't like that when it first started.
Well, that's cool. Well,
yeah.
God, I mean, I feel like I've been saying this for years, but maybe we're finally turning the corner.
I think so. Really. Yeah. I mean, if you have a tool like AI now that's taking sides, people were showing that they used it to debunk the Wall Street Journal article. And so
Cool.
that's weird. Yeah. Very cool.
All right. Well, we want to thank you all for listening to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. That is I Have a Need to Know, Adam.
That's right.
And I am Tough Guy Topher. And we will see you all next week.
Message in the static, a shadow in the dark, a light against the stars, a podcast from afar. It's Adam and Topher, we come in peace. Our hunt for the truth will never cease. It's the Uncovering Anomalies podcast, where the truth is told until the last. Listen to our words and hear our voices. We can't save you, but present your choices. A message in the static, a shadow in the dark, a light against the stars, a podcast from afar. It's Adam and Topher, we come in peace. Our hunt for the truth will never cease. It's the Uncovering Anomalies podcast, where the truth is told until the last. Listen to our words and hear our voices. We can't save you, but present your choices. We can't save you, but present your choices. We can't save your choices. We can't save you, present your choices. Present your choices. We can't save you, present your choices. We can't save you, but present your choices.